string goes. Everything seems good. Yes, perfect. Okay, let's do it with the installation of Magento 2. So this is something that I don't have yet installed. Let me go quickly into this forked repository where I had my tests being set up. Oh no, not EAP, I just want regular PHP Storm. Let's see, let me close this one down. So let me also open up a stream from my Mac to see what you guys are writing to me, just in case. Okay, and the regular JetBrains, why it's not opening? PHP Storm. Let's see. Okay, now I think I'm here. So let's see. Can I create a new project? Yes, perfect. Cache program, I don't need this one. Okay, new project. Okay, Magento 2. Let me just clone it. Oh yeah, I can do it like this. I have to first close this one, then open my Ubuntu. Where it was in projects. Yeah. PHP Storm. Oh, okay, let me open up again the PHP Storm. And actually, yeah, let me just create a new clear project maybe. Do I have like this? Or which dirs actually I have here? Oh, it's actually inside of my VM. Okay, cd mount d work. Okay, this is, I think it is. Make dir then I'm gonna copy it over. So like this. Oh no, not in current directory. So right now it's cloning stuff. Let's take a look at the issue comment. What we have had recently in this one. So yeah, Andre Cassian talking that there is an issue with generating of the cache. It is of course not a part of locking issue that was fixed, but a part of slow process order. So what I was thinking about is actually to improve the part in the file called system.html. Let me open it up. Is it here in this commit? No. Okay, let's see. Maybe in the files changed. Yeah, here is the file. And let's open the whole file. So here in load all data, I think. So load all data, this is a method where happens a load operation of the config itself. So it loads the cache data if the cache data is not there. Actually, if the cache data is there, it serializes it and decrypts it, and then otherwise it's actually grabs the data from the real storage, and then it's of course invokes the cache data. However, I also find out there's a little bit of more to it. For instance, this one here we have also a cache based on scope. And what's interesting over here is actually that the scope data is stored, actually invokes again the flushing of the wall config data. So it probably can bring some improvement to Magento cache generation, because right now if we take a look here, the read data in both methods are the same. So the actual data that comes into the cache data method is the same for all of these methods, like load all data, a load default scope data, a load scope data itself as well. So everything is absolutely the same. So and here is actually the method that caches the data. So we can see here as well, like basically it's not doing anything with the data except it just grabs the data from the arrays that is returned back from the read data. So what I was thinking about, first of all, we can improve this generation process, because effectively if the scope data is not cached, it's gonna invoke that one. If the regular data is not cached, it's gonna invoke one again. It could be a problem, but maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it somehow is not a big deal. So let's see. And then we also have here actually scopes, and scopes, what it does. Okay, and scopes, it's actually something that is clearing up the date. Actually, it stores number of scopes saved here, so then it cleans only actually by cache tag. Okay, I see. So what I was thinking about is a possible optimization. So first of all, we see here that there is this clean method that cleans everything by cache tag. It looks okay. There is, I think, nothing wrong with this one, right? So what we can do here, we can leave it like this. However, this cache data, we would actually add two items here. So we will save not only this one, but we also will create another entry that we will call stale data. That will be just duplication of all of these entries. Maybe not per scope, because probably it doesn't make much of the sense to do, but yeah, we can take a look at it a little bit later, right? So yeah, what is interesting actually is that load all data is invoked when we access all of the data from configuration that was loaded by the system config. And then apart from that, there is this load default scope. For instance, here we can see that get with path. So this is the main thing that is invoked in Magento config. We can see, for instance, that it's actually quite interesting. it checks if, for instance, the default scope if it's not a default scope, if it's something custom, it tries to find it. If it's not an array, it does a lot, and then it merges it recursively, and then it sets it. Okay, this is kind of interesting. And you know why it's interesting? Because looks like there is a case where this part that comes here might not be something that exists in Magento. So imagine like you have something custom that is not coming through read data, and if you try to access it, it actually will result in an error, because actually it will result in hitting your cache backend every single time. Because if read data doesn't return this one, it just goes completely in a loop. Okay. And also, if get with parts is actually invoked, say if you try to get a path before anything of this happens, yeah, it's also a little bit complicated in my opinion. So let's see, what can we go through here and what we can actually do. So sorry guys, I have actually my webcam turned off, so you would have to watch my frozen screen with me. So sorry very much for that. So okay, so what I was planning to do. I was planning to take a look how can I actually eliminate these dynamic parts, and as well I want to add a stale content bin loaded. Let's see, is it cloned? Okay, perfect. Now I can actually open my PHP store. And let me actually open a directory with this one. Okay, this window. Now, let's see what I can do. Let's see what I can do over here. So let me first of all adjust some of the settings so you guys see my screen a little bit better. Get settings from account, yes, because I want to change a little bit the font size. Appearance, here I want to change the font, let's say at least to 18, so you guys see my screen better. And then I also want to change the font here also actually to 18. So I hope it's now visible better for you. Right, and here I can go into the library, Magento framework config. I think I'm on wrong branch right now. Let me check it out real quick. Git branch. What is the branch right now? Okay, I'm on develop. what I want to do, I want to check out fix cache lock cycle write. I want to check out this branch because this is one actually I was working on before. In the meantime, also let me do another thing. How do I open a tab in Windows? It's isn't it like Control T? It should be. Okay, I will just press plus. And here what I want to do, I want to actually do docker run, but for this one I don't remember. Run MySQL docker without password. I remember there was some environment variables I had to set, but I don't remember which one exactly. Or maybe okay, start MySQL. Okay, this one is no-brainer. Name, I will call it MySQL integration, right? And MySQL, and here I will just specify root as it's already something I have. Let's start it out. Docker PS, let's see what is the IP address of this one. Docker port, I think. Port shows us the IP address of this MySQL integration container. Let's see. What? Okay, maybe info. Okay, Docker inspect probably. Yes, okay. What is the IP address? The IP address of this container is this one. Let's see if I can actually connect to there. Okay, I didn't use MySQL client here yet, so let's do it really quick. Okay. Let's update the MySQL packages, so let's make sure everything is working fine. Okay, now let's install the MySQL client. Yes, please. Nice progress indication. Okay, this looks good. And let's try to connect user root -p root as well. Never use root as a password on production. It's not safe. I'm just using it in my development build to streamline a little bit my development process, but never do it in production. Okay, seems like nothing is connecting. Okay. Let's do like this. 3306, which is let's see. Is there anything I can forward ports for? Probably I have to. Is there any sample here? Okay, 3306. I think this one should be good enough. But I will keep it like this just to make sure it's preserved. And now I'm gonna remove the previous one, Docker RM MySQL integration. Yes. Okay. First stop. And then remove, right? And then run a Docker RM. And then let's run creation of the container. Yes, allow access, allow. Take all of my access rights. Now let's see, can I connect to it? Oh, probably it's also a different host name, because it's probably now mapped to the local host, because what? No, not through the socket. Yes, now I can show databases. Okay, perfect. So now I can execute create database Magento 2. This is the one I will be using for integration tests. So show databases. Okay, Magento 2 is here. Hey, how did I modify these files? I never modified them. What's up with you? PHP Sturm. Or maybe it's because I'm on Ubuntu subsystem and it does something with it. Let's do actually git checkout app code. Because I didn't modify them, I just don't want to deal with any false positives. Okay, so here we have tests, and then we have for the configuration we have this locker. Where is it? Lock. Config, or actually cache lock guarded cache loader. Yes, this one. So this one that we've added last time, we added non-blocking load data. So what I want to add here, I want to add actually a case when, let's say, something is not available from cache and something is already actually locked. The processing of the cache. So in this case, I just want to grab some stale data from cache itself. So quickly, let's just write a test for this one. So here we're gonna go into doing some stuff in test case. Where is this class itself? Oh, here it is located. Okay, so finally I'm in the right spot. And here is the test case that I wrote last time. Let's give a meaningful name to this one. So public function. Oh, actually, I can use, I think, live templates that I have defined on my Mac as well. It should be possible to use them here. Yeah. Okay, so spec. What is it gonna be? It's gonna be non-blocking loader allows to specify stale content loader. Okay, this sounds reasonable. It's a new behavior. So let's copy somewhere where we actually assert the result. Okay, this is the one. And what we're gonna change here. So let's say something is locked during trying to load the cache data. So something locked our cache, or actually we can do and move it out here. So we know for sure, like, yeah, it's loaded, it's locked before even we call something. The cache is not available there. Then this is something that will return us uncached data, and this one would add the data to the save data method. So this one actually should never be invoked, but we just have it here. Actually, I think this one we can combine a little bit with other tests, right? We have the same thing all over the place. Yeah, so we have the same functionality. So I think it makes sense to extract this one and make it more reusable, because it doesn't make sense to define it all the time. Okay, how do I extract it on Windows? I know how to do it on Mac. Let's it's not the right combination. Okay, let's do refactor, extract, method, Control Alt M. Okay, it's Control Alt M. Control Alt and yeah, but I was using wrong Alt on my keyboard. Okay. What we will do here? Merge. Yeah. Return past data with merged value. It sounds like descriptive enough. Yes. No, actually don't replace it everywhere yet. What we're gonna do, we're gonna use this data. Actually, value to merge. And we will return back callable, and here we will run array merge of the data with this data that is passed. Here use value to merge and then value to merge. So it effectively will do the same thing as that one. And here we will do something like cached, right? This is the data that we wanted to merge. Return past data with merged value. Okay. This seems good. Can I run this test? I think it won't let me. Yeah, because error is not specified. Oh boy, yeah, I need also to do this thing. So I need to run composer install. Okay, what's here? So Magento is using some extensions that I don't have yet set up on my Windows PC because I was working mostly in Dockerized environments for projects, but for this one I'm working directly on file system. So it's a little bit complicated. Okay, this one is installed. What I need to install now? I think Packle install SOAP, right? Oh, okay. What it tells me, what is not available, requires, okay, WebDriver. I don't need WebDriver. No. What? Oh, BC Math. Okay. Packle install BC Math. What? Are we? Okay. You know what? Why? Don't I have it all? PHP -m. Grab video. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. I don't have all those extensions so far. So let's see. So concerning the camera, yes, the camera is dead, so the battery is dead on the camera. I didn't expect to stream today, so I didn't charge it. Okay, let's see. And probably also probably I need soap, right? Yes, yes, yes. And what I else need? I also need PHP BC Math. Oh yeah, I don't need it for actual changes I do, but Magento needs it for different things there. Okay. So let's see what else I'm missing. I'm also missing curl, GD, Intel. Okay. Just let's run it quickly. GD, PHP, curl, PHP. What else? It's Intel and PHP zip. Looks like all is set up, right? Yeah, finally it runs. So in the meantime, let me choose PHP version here. In languages, I think interpreter is PHP on my Ubuntu. Yes, it should work. And as well, let's see, does it actually? Oh my goodness, why it's so stupid in PHP Storm? I hope it's gonna work in test frameworks. Yeah, let's see. Why PHP Storm does something like this? Isn't it crazy? Okay, let me try actually to run it. Yeah, I don't want to run it on Windows PHP. I just want to run it in my Ubuntu subsystem. Okay, let's do the old way. PHP -c, and then let's run our dev tests. I think it's, oh sorry, the configuration is actually in dev tests unit. Right, and then it's php.net xml dist, and then the test is in appcode Magento. Oh, it's in framework, it's leap internal Magento framework, and then what we're gonna go in, it's in isn't composer install finished? Oh, it didn't finish yet its job. Okay, so it's still running. We are still waiting for this one to finish. How long we will wait for it? I don't know. Hope it will finish soon. Okay, at least now it's going with functional testing framework and other stuff from dev dependencies. Yeah, finally. Okay, so now I probably can run a test. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. It's working. So let's go and fix it. Yeah, missing parentheses. Yeah, the tests are passing. It's good. Can I actually configure it to run? What? How is that possible? Oh, it's probably because of the filter. Okay, let's just... Yeah, and I can actually run it also in my PHP Storm, so it's very good. I have to run the whole class, but yeah, I don't mind doing it. So let's see. This one works, so let's just replace it everywhere. Everywhere and everywhere, we just gonna replace it. This return value cached. Okay. So this kind of sounds good. And now we also... Oh, actually, I think this one doesn't look very good because it needs to be wrapped like this. And then everywhere where I was using that one, let's replace it one by one. Here as well. Here as well. And where else? Here as well. Here is all okay, I think. Here it's just passes data. What we actually can do, just like this. Here is, it stores into variable, so we are not going to change this one. In other cases, yeah, it just does nothing. So let's rerun our test suite. Okay, it looks good. It looks very good. So this one is running. Let's also actually set up after automated tests running. So we just created a test that's green. So we need to make it red. So what I wanted to do, I wanted actually to add another optional callable that will return us stale data. So the stale data will be returned when some process is locking this lock and cache data is not available. And then what we do, instead of returning us uncached data, it should return us this stale data. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put here an expectation that it should return us a stale data instead of the cached one. So now we see that our test is now red. We can see that stale data is not returned as expected. And let's go and fix our code in order to satisfy this requirement. So first of all, I don't have here this callable defined. So data let's call it data like to follow convention, like data loader stale data, or stale data loader, I think it's better. And we'll set it to null, so it's gonna be optional, it's not used. Now we see that the rest of the tests are working okay. If we remove, for instance, this one, we see all the tests are failing, so we better make it optional. So what we do here, then we check if, let's say, actually what we can do here, we can just replace this one is locked, then we do stale data loader call, otherwise we'll do a data collector, right? Okay, it's oh yeah, sure, because there's a couple of places where we don't specify it, so I need to make sure that this one, if let's say stale data loader is not specified, if it's null, then we use the normal data collector. So this looks like a good thing, right? So we have this one working, and now what we're gonna do, we actually gonna grab some code inside of this system HTML, but first we need, of course, to do a few things here in Magento. There is an integration test suite, right? So we have tests, then we have integration test, and here we wanna copy over this file into PHP unit XML, and here I need to modify oh yeah, I need to actually specify this install config, and I need also to do something like clean up database. I want to disable this feature because I just want to have database all the time being installed. Okay, so we're gonna use install config mysql dst. We're just gonna actually copy it over. All right. And here the root password is root, and the database name is Magento 2, right? Yeah, I don't have AMPQ, but yeah, let's actually remove this one because I don't have it installed here, and I'm not gonna use it for my integration tests either. So what I can do now, I can actually check here if the right file name is provided. Okay, it's the right file name. The config global I also need to copy because it's at least what's specified in this XML DST, right? It specifies it without .dst in the end. Any other file names I have to pay attention here for? No, I don't think so. Okay, looks good. So config global and config install config mysql. Then I'm gonna do a run here, vendor bin PHP unit. Actually, what I can do as well is composer exec PHP unit, and then I can specify configuration passes, dev tests, integration, PHP unit XML, and then I'm gonna specify dev tests, integration test suite. I remember I was interested only in one test. I'm not gonna run the whole test suite in my local. It's just a waste of time. So it should be somewhere here, but I will use system. I will use a search system test. Is it? Frame? No, not logger. Config app type system. Okay. So this one is our test case. Can I copy a relative path to it? No, okay, I have to navigate to it, and then I can copy a relative path to this file. So let's do it. Oh yeah, of course. Minus minus. Because why? Okay, I have to run it like this to see what is the problem. Okay. Undefined offset 4. What is it? What I'm seeing is wrong. Okay, parameter validation file failed. No such file order. Oh yeah, I know what is the problem. The same problem as I had with my local connection to MySQL. It's related to localhost instead of IP address. So let's quickly change that one. So here's my configuration. I have to specify here directly an IP address. 127.0.0.1. Okay. Let's see. Okay, what's an error right now? What? The server requested authentication method unknown to the client. Oh, this is funny. I never seen an error like this before. Let's Google it. It's quite funny. Okay. It's a MySQL server configuration because seems like I have yeah, it's 8.0. I'm not gonna use 8.0 MySQL. Docker Yes. Okay. So this is my MySQL. So I need to use 5.7, not 8.0. That's why it fails. Okay, docker remove MySQL integration. Oh yeah, docker stop MySQL. And now I can use this one, and here I want to specify 5.7. So now it's gonna be installed. What? Okay, I had to remove it first. Okay, now it's running, and now I can actually connect to it, right? Ideally. Why? Okay. Create a database, Magento 2. Exit. And now let's try and run our integration test. So now it should actually install Magento. Let's check it out in background. Actually, I'm gonna install this nice tool. Oh, I'm clicking too much on this keyboard. apt-get install on my top. Yes, please install it for me. Undefined offset. What? What is the problem this time? Oh yeah, so because I don't have a database. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me do it like this. Let me change it to enabled. Okay, because it tries to grab a database dump that it expects that Magento 2 is already installed, but it's not installed. Let's see my top host 1270. Actually, what I can do, I can just define it here in my CNF. Let's check. Okay. 1270. Okay, it's funny. It's very funny. Let's go on. Show full process list. Oh, it's failed again. So command return non-zero. What's the problem? Exception in shell. File loader. Okay, handle bootstrap, handle arguments. TMP. Okay, let's remove these two sandboxes. Maybe it's the problem in them. Why have this undefined offset? Crazy. Okay, so here it is. It's undefined offset 4. Okay, let's take a look where is the problem. What didn't I set up properly? Magento framework. On which line it is? It's on line 4. Oh no, line 92. Okay, line 92. Get Windows. Okay, I see. Dear Magento developers, you know, like we are using nowadays Linux subsystem. Why didn't you check if Linux subsystem is running? So I think if I do like this and -a, it shows Linux. Why the heck it tries to grab the win process get memory usage? Why? Why, guys? Okay. Oh my goodness. Why it's happening like this? You know, like it just doesn't make any sense. Okay, I have to patch it in order to get some stuff running, because otherwise I will not be able to run. And I think it makes sense to submit a bug report. So what we find out today is that yeah, if by any chance you are on a Linux subsystem, you get this kind of nasty nasty error during installation. So you cannot actually install Magento under Linux subsystem under Windows, so because it detects it as Windows. However, it's strange that it detects it as Windows because clearly there is a PHP notice that is unhandled by this try catch, because it's not including errors into the try catch. If we take a look here, right? Okay, let's see. Can I see what is the full process list? Yeah, finally. Finally we get somewhere. Yeah, couldn't read what? Dev tests integrate. Okay, it's already a good sign. So dev tests. Why it can't read this one? Why? PHP unit, are you crazy too? Like, it shouldn't actually happen. Okay, let's try to run this test from my IDE. Let's hope. Yeah, this one will fail because I need to create a separate configuration for it. So for system test, I need to use an alternative configuration file that comes from here. Right? So let's do it. So now it runs as I see. And it starts test. Okay, it's very good. It's very, very good. It's very, very nice. So we can go and fix everything. So first of all, let's create a test here. Yeah, let's follow to the same convention in this test file. Test get value for db store default test. Do we have some nice values? Can I actually use xdebug here? I think not. No, I cannot use it. So default web test value. Okay, where this test lies in, because I saw there is some fixture. Yeah, the config data. The config data is a fixture for a test. So let's see. Oh, nice. So there is actually a couple of things that we can test here. So test value 1, test value 2. Okay, good, very good. Test value 1, but it's not actually tested anywhere here. So let's add another test public function test. How can we actually substitute value without doing anything? I think we can't. So what we only can do, right, we can just test happy pass for just retrieval of the values. So this is a system value. How about just testing that, let's say, we can retrieve a type of cache types, right, that are available, but probably we actually can just rely on the system. Oh yeah, so system is actually the one that is interesting for us. So the system test value 3. Okay, let's go. Let's go and grab some test for system. This one, test get value for store scope, right? Let's this is our store scope value. We can actually remove it from here, and here's also, let's make it public function test get value for website scope. And what we can do here as well, set data by path, and then it saves. And then when it saves, it actually needs to clear the cache, right? Okay, we will not do anything in that area. We're just gonna make sure that we have separate test cases for every item here, and we're just gonna run them. I think it's quite slow test for just integrating the system configuration value. But yeah, I think we can do much here. Okay. Also, I think it should test for some fallback, right? Oh, yeah, it's already testing it for a fallback. Yeah, sounds good. So now let's go here. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to add a small thing here. So when we load some data, I wanted to make sure that we are gonna serve stale data when the data is not yet available. So what is actually interesting here? Okay, so this is loads the data from cache. Does it enable cache here? Can we actually can we see what are items that are available here? Can we run something like to see which kind of annotations are available? Let's see. Okay, so what we have, data fixture, yes. Config fixture, component registration fixture, cache. Okay, so what is interesting for us is actually to enable cache. And this one, can I put it on every item over there, or just on some of them? State interface, unknown cache type, specified type in Magento cache. Okay. Let's go back to our test case. And let's put here Magento cache config enabled, right? So we want to make sure that between our test runs, the configuration cache is actually enabled. So let's see how it goes. So this is the first test. Let's see the second test. And the third one. Yeah, okay. So this is, I don't understand actually how this app isolation works. Let's see on annotations on this app isolation. Start test suite and end test suite. Okay, end test. So we have isolation as enabled and isolation as disabled, but we can't, unfortunately, yeah, we can't do anything there on a class level, because I actually expected, you know, that isolation actually happens on a test case level, not in any other way. Okay, we have to live with it like this, unfortunately, right? So let's see what we can do. What we can grab there. So here we have a system. First of all, yeah, it creates a new system object. What I also want to actually test, I'm not sure it should be in setup. I think we can just simply create another test case here. Test caching does not break value retrieval. So this is a test case that is gonna just grab some stuff from a system. So first, let's say we access this value, And then what we will do, we actually gonna use something like this. So we're gonna use this object manager create system class, yes. So we're gonna validate this one, and then we're gonna validate that on the second run the value stays the same and it still retrieves it correctly, just to make sure if, let's say, we are in environment, actually this one not needed to be validated, we just can do something like this. So here we'll say first uncached call to configuration, and here we validate second call after cache data is stored. So we just want to make sure that every single optimization that we do doesn't break this one. And we actually have to make it working good, we have to do it for every store. For every scope, sorry, for store scope, right? And also for website scope. Where is the website scope value? Here it is. Oh no, here it is. Okay. So here's our website scope value, and it should be in website base. So this is our website scope. Okay, this looks good. Here we also will copy and we also will add another one for default scope. I think this three should really be more than enough to test that we don't break anything with the changes that we are gonna introduce, right? So, and then the value for what it is this one, value db test. For default. Let's see. Let's run our test. Yeah, integration tests are usually slow. Okay. Wow, that's nice. Why it's like this? Look. This is happening in website scope test, right? So website based web test. Or maybe the pass is wrong. Let me see. Websites base. Oh, it's websites. Yeah, so it's best a bad test. So it should be not website, it should be websites. And then you rerun your tests, right? Let's see. get value for default scope, for website scope, then get value for store scope. Test caching does not break value retrieval for store scope passed, does not break value retrieval for website scope passed. Okay, looks like all our integration tests are passing. So now I can go on here and experiment with the functionalities that I want to create. So first of all, okay. I want to extract this one into a method. Okay, the extraction is gonna be called load cached data for scope type. Ah, my goodness, PHP Storm, why don't you let me just do it? So I have to load data from cache for scope type. All right, so here will be scope type. I will explain in a second why I'm actually doing it. So return this load data for scope type. So this is not a public, definitely not a public, it's going to be private method. So the return type is an array. Yeah, in the original one it was not showing any exceptions. Scope type is actually a string, right? Can we actually reserve it as a string, or yeah, better not do it. Loads data from cache for a specified scope type, right? So this one is gonna be for a scope type. Then here is, okay, I already actually see some improvements we actually can do, right? And how about this one? Is it the same thing? It's a little bit more complicated, right? Okay, what are available data scopes? Okay, so this is the ones that are stored. Okay, sounds reasonable. Let's see. It's something is hidden here that's a little bit It's a little bit complex in my opinion, right? Okay. Okay. Oh boy. Yeah, it's... Okay, load all data. Yeah, it's clear. Okay, let's first of all fix this one. Let's move this one into a method as well. I just copy his description as well. Yeah, we just gonna change loads all cache data for configuration. Okay, it's not gonna receive any scope type, right? And as we see here, right, it's just loads all the data for config type, and yeah, we're just gonna return it like this, right? Load config type, blah blah blah, data false. Oh no, data is false. Why like this? Oh, because we are unserialized. Unserialized decrypt. Okay, this looks like a little bit like duplication, right? So we have here something like this. And then we return back data. Okay, cannot declare. Load all data from cache, right? And then we're gonna use it here. So what we can do, we can just replace it like this. Oh no. Oh, here we actually have to use this. Oh no, don't mess with me. Insert mode in PHP storm. Closure from callable. This. And then this. So it's load all data from cache, right? So now I see why it's here. I didn't understand originally. It's actually to pass as a callable that is private into another class. Okay, so load data from cache. Here it sounds reasonable. Okay. And also, I think we need to change it here. It's an array or a bool value, so we need to make sure it works. So for now, I only replace it in 2 places. Let's hope the test doesn't break, right? So the store scope doesn't break, the website scope doesn't break. Let's see if web default doesn't break. Okay, so default doesn't break too. Now let's refactor this big one. It's actually quite interesting algorithm here. So if I, for instance, take the cache model, yeah, I can actually break this code. So if, let's say, oh my goodness, we can actually break the core functionality by just doing some stuff here. That is interesting. Alright, so let's imagine I don't have a data for this website in a cache, right? So I removed this cache entry. What is the config type here? What is the config type configuration inside of Magento itself? I think it's config, right? Config type should be config, but it's probably inside of DI. Oh no. DI, is it / here? And no, not this one. The next entry. Another one. Another one. No? Cache. System. Okay, config. What is the class name? Let's see, in unclassified usage, nothing. Why I can't find it? Okay, let's copy a class reference and let's just do a search. And let's search in XML files. Okay, this seems good. Okay, here it is. Here we have source. What is the type? Okay. type config. Okay, it's clear. But where is the cache type variable defined? Oh, here it is. So here it is. It's it's in the same class. Okay, it just specified there. Okay, the config type is system. Okay, so this is the key for a save. So if I just clean this one up, so let me write a failing test that would be interesting to fix. So where it is? Where is our test case? Our test case is system.test.php. Here it is. So let's duplicate it here, and let's test that caching. Let's test clearing specific scope cache does not break cached value retrieval. So first we access a value for, let's say, website. Then what we do, this object manager get, what do we get? We get cache, right? Cache class, the same one as used here. It's front-end interface for cache. Right, it's the right one. And then what we do, we actually yeah, I'd like to get this one as a factory actually. Let's just call it, let's actually extract it into a method, create system config. Okay, it's private method, refactor, yes, please, all. Perfect. This one I like better. What it returns as a system class. So this is what we know. And now we're gonna do the same with this one. We're gonna have create cache frontend interface. Right, so here we're gonna grab this object manager. Actually, we're gonna access cache frontend, right? And we're not gonna get this one, so we're gonna pass in this insert again frontend interface class. So we're gonna return it back, and here this access frontend cache frontend. What we're gonna do, we're gonna remove a cache record with specific identifier. So we know that Magento stores this data here in this one. So we see here, for instance, it tries to access the value by config types and scope ID. So the data actually should lie within the access something like this. So it should be system, then it should be websites, and then it should be base. So if, for instance, I remove something like this, it means all the configuration values from system websites base are gonna be completely removed. So the next one will actually fail in this case. So let's see if my theory works, and it's gonna happen. Let's run only this test. I'm not gonna run the rest of oh yeah, it's so pity. PHP Storm adds something that is impossible to execute. Let's see if it fails. Because also could be that, oh, it won't fail because I didn't specify the right path down here. I didn't specify this one. No, okay, I have to rerun it, but it's a good thing. Okay, it fails for a different reason. Yeah, okay, I see. What kind of configuration? How about the cache type? What is the cache type that is used here? It's interesting to see. Let's see our annotations, and let's see the cache annotation. Cache state interface, okay. Which is what kind of cache value we have by default. It's interesting to see actually. Config fixture. No. How about cache value? So by default, probably we use a file system one, but I don't see where it's defined here. Oh, actually we can use we can take a look here, I think. Yeah, finally. DI. Okay, let's see. Front end. Okay, cache. Okay, it's actually there. So let's see. The system. Class. Let's see the configuration for this one. The one that we are actually trying to test. Copy reference. Let's find it here. Okay. Oh yeah, because as I remember before, it was somewhere in modules. Somewhere in readers, and let's see where is this cache. Okay, the visual type system config init initial data provider. Okay, how about the system config type itself? So Magento app config, okay, types, one is system, then this type is defined here. But the problem is that oh, I see, it actually grabs it from here. Okay, so yeah, this looks good. Then the cache is coming through the front-end interface. Let's see, config di. Let's see, cache is returning us this one. So this is probably the type that I need to grab. Yes. This is the type that I need to grab in order to test out my functionality. So I need to grab this one, but it's actually not a real class as I see. Yeah. So I need to do it like this. Oh, it's a real class. Okay. It's a real class. It's only something that I just don't import. Yeah. Okay, and now what we're gonna do as well, we're gonna use a nice feature, simplify fully qualified class name. Let's run a test. Okay. So here we found the bug in Magento, and I wrote a test for this bug before actually just fixing it. So if we have a value in website scope, and then we remove a cache from this value for all this scope. So let's say Redis decides to remove this value, but let's say the default scope is still there. Magento, instead of grabbing this value from all websites, it just replaces it by empty. And yeah, this one is actually quite a problem. Okay, so I think Magento shouldn't do it like this. There should be different logic in place, because this is not the way how it should be done. We have here, for instance, it just checks if the scope is there, and it just does this check, but it doesn't do anything in order to try to restore the configuration from cache. So yeah, this is a good way to test that everything is gonna work well. So this one is unserializing the value. So this also can be a little bit simplified in my opinion, like unserialize and decrypt and so on. Yeah, this one actually I think can be a little bit improved. I think we can create something like private function load from cache and what we're gonna do and process, okay, or actually and unserialize. So this is gonna be a single method that's gonna do this kind of job. All right, and then we're gonna receive a callable data formatter. Okay. Here what we will do, we will just do something like this. Also we will receive the cache key, right? And the default value is gonna be just false, so we're gonna always return false if we are unable to load something. So the cache key goes here, right? And then if cache data equals false, we just return back false. Otherwise, what we will do, we will call this data formatter function with our cached data. Sounds reasonable? So then we can just replace all of this with this load from cache. Load from cache and then serialize. Functions that will receive cached data, right? And it will just return back as this. Actually, it will use this scope type as scope type, and then we will specify this cached data. Oh yeah, cache key is okay. Let's the cache key here is I think this config type. Then what was the scope type, right? Oh yeah, here is I forgot a very simple thing. So we need first decrypt the data, and what else we need to do? We need to also unserialize it. So we have decrypt, unserialize. So let's wait until it starts. So let's hope we didn't break anything. Okay, so this function is actually working. Looks like that. But this one, yes, still is not working because yeah, we didn't refactor it yet. Load from cache and unserialize. Yeah, let's maybe loads data from cache by key and unserializes into required format. Okay. Okay, PHP Storm doesn't know what is the word unserialize. Into ready to use data. Yeah. Maybe even I will change it here to decodes. It's definitely better describes, because there's not only deserialization happening, there's also decryption happening. Not decodes, but why it's not renaming for me on ship? Oh, it's Windows, yeah. So Windows has a little bit so load from cache and decode, then we pass a cache key. So looks like good option, right? So for the default one, can we also safely do it? Oh, we actually did it for default one, yeah. Okay, so now we can use also it for scoped data. So now let's refactor this beast. So what's actually happening here? Yeah, so here it checks, is it an array? If so, it checks if the data is not there. It does this thing. So this actually breaks the functionality, because if the data is not in cache, it should try to actually retrieve it from the scope. So let's actually fix this one. So first of all, we need to replace this piece of code, like create like private function load available, or actually get available cache type, cache scopes, right? Get available data scopes. So in case if data scope is available, so yeah, let's replace with this new and shiny load data from cache for scope. Oh no, load data from cache and decode. Then we specify this config type plus scopes. So what will happen if actually we have a scope with the name scopes? Yeah, it would be funny. No one was thinking about name collision in this case. Okay, so let's see. And then we will specify a function. this available scopes will equal to this scopes passed as an argument. We are actually not gonna change the behavior because Magento doesn't set if data is not decoded from cache and decode. And here we remove this thing, and here we return back if this available data from scopes is not null. Otherwise, we just return an array. That's all. So we are not gonna reinitialize this variable if it's null, just in case if we do something other. So actually we can remove this one. Yeah, this is actually very nice. I like how it looks now than it was looking before, because before it was really a little bit messy with all this stuff. So here we can now safely, let's say, move this one, scope available. Oh, actually, it validates if it's an array, so we probably have to do it a little bit. So available scopes. Then what we do here, we are gonna access this get available data scopes. If, let's say, available scopes, so if it's an empty array, then there is nothing set. And if inside of the available scopes this is not set, then we do this kind of a thing. However, we have to replace it at a later stage. However, we also need to do something like this. Here, this piece of code, we just need to replace this get load from cache and decode. So this is our cache key. Here we're gonna do something like function with cached data cached data. Here is gonna be scope data, and cache data is gonna return us something like this, cache data. And here we're gonna reuse scope type and scope ID, right? And here we're gonna check if the data is not retrieved from cache. We try to actually extract this data like this, right? To return it. So okay, I've returned these values, right? Now we're gonna go on and do something with it, right? So here I think all is working good, right? Here is what I said is a little bit of a problem, because actually here what we can do, if scope data does not equal to false, we just return back this scope data. Otherwise, we're gonna grab this available scopes then we actually override it, right? In case if the scope is set, and we can say something like a scope type. Oh, actually, we can do something like I think all data, right? This load from cache and decode. This config type, right? And here we can access this cache data again. And here we're gonna check if, let's say, cache data actually we'll call it fallback data, just to not mess with variables. So fallback data in this case is gonna be actually we can just call it scope data. I know what I will do. So here we're gonna have the cache data, and then inside of this cache data we're gonna check, actually we're gonna return scope type, scope ID. We're gonna also pass it here. So this is the cache data for this one. So load from cache and decode, then we specify the general all cache that is available. Then it will try to find a value for the scope from this cache. And then we're just gonna return this like this. Scope data. But here also, if let's say it's not available, then what we will do, we will just return an empty array. So it's going to be behaving the same way as the original core functionality. Let's run our test. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's hope our test will get green now. So the default scope works well. And now the last test. No, it's red. Why it's red? Why it's red? Why it's red? So when Magento saves all the data, it is stored in the current scope type. Then there is this scope ID, right? So this one should be working. So when I remove this one, yeah, the value is not there in cache, so it tries to retrieve it. Oh, Actually, this is wrong, because task clearing specific scope cache does not break cache value retrieval. This is my bad. Yeah, it's green. It's now green. And now let's go another step. So what we did here, we improved this one. So this one looks okay. Then oh yeah, actually this one can be replaced with our method that we already have, this load data for cache for scope type. So we can use a scope type here, and then if scope type, oh no, we cannot do this, yeah, or we can, no, we cannot, because the scope type is only available for default, I think, because if we take a look here, we can see that this scopes, they save for specific IDs, they don't save for every single scope type. So there is this default, and then there is website, and then there is store level cache configuration. Okay, so this one works. Now let's see what we can have further on to fix this issue. So as I said, I wanted also to implement another thing here. Yeah, so this one I want to refactor as well. I want to save, call this function save to cache, that will receive cache key, and then it will receive data and probably tags as well, right? Cache tags. So save to cache, then we have this cache tags, so it will be array, and data is actually array in all of the cases for us, so it's all the time an array as well, and a string for cache key. So what we will do, we'll just do this thing. We'll just refactor the code for Magento to remove the code duplication, because yeah, it's just smells that it needs to get refactored. I just can't stand this stuff. So then the cache key, right? Then what is there? The tags, cache tags. Actually, the cache tag is the same for all of them, so we can actually omit this altogether and just specify it like this. Saves data by encoding it for a storage. And also I will actually do another thing here. I will extract here this one as Ctrl-Alt-V as a variable, cache tags. Also I will extract this one. Ctrl-Alt-M. I want to extract it into a method. Come on, PHP Storm, why? Extract a method. What was there? It was save to cache. Here, save to cache with cache tag. Okay. I will explain a little bit later why I'm doing it like this. Oh no, no void here. Because I want to actually create two things. Okay, let's... How do I move this one? In Mac it's much more easier just to move private methods to the end, so okay. Save to cache with cache tag, yeah, works well. Save to cache. Then here all these calls are gonna be simplified. This save to cache scopes, it's gonna be scopes, right? Here it's gonna be also as well, save to cache. Alright, and then it's gonna be the current scope data. Yeah, let's move this one out. There's also data default. Here's just this save to cache, this config type, and then the data itself. So we see here, right, that there is some logic here. So it saves to cache. Okay, this one looks like a good thing. So we have this one here. And what I actually wanted to add as a performance improvement, so while we did all these things with refactoring, I just wanted to add this config type. And here I'm just gonna specify prefix like stale. So this is gonna be our stale cache data that we're gonna serve when our functionality logs this cache write. So other connections still gonna retrieve it. We are not gonna specify any other data there because we already have full access to this data array and it's always available over there, right? So we can just safely do it. So let's also extract a constant here, right? Let's extract common stale cache prefix, right? And what we will do here, actually, yeah, we have to specify without cache tag, with cache tag, and here, because it's very long, we have to split it up. We're gonna specify an empty cache tag. So we want to make sure that when someone flushes the cache for configuration, the stale configuration cache data is still there. So it's not flushed by Magento. So we can safely be sure that, yeah, refreshing configuration cache doesn't remove this stale cache data. Okay, save to cache with cache tag, and now here we're gonna go back to this place. Okay, so load all data from cache. So this one is gonna also actually be replaced with this nice method that we created, this where is it? Data from cache in the code, and this cache. Where is it? Is it? Oh, it's config type. Okay, this is config type. And I think we can just make this one optional. Now let's fix this one up. do I invoke? Oh, update PHP doc comment. Okay. And let's say if we have a data formatter, then yeah, let's do it like this. If data formatter, then cache data equals data formatter for the data. So first decoded data, then the decoded data gets updated by data formatter, then we pass it here, and then we return it back. Okay, so this looks more interesting. Okay, so load from cache and decode the config type. Let's say if cache data equals false, then we try to also no, we actually don't do anything here. We just return back this value. We don't need to do anything about it. Okay, load from cache and decode, load from cache and decode. Okay, what we're gonna do here is actually do something like this, and we're also gonna return here scope data. But here, let's say if the scope data is not available, if scope data equals false, right? So the scope data is not there. What we do, we actually try to grab this load from data from cache for scope type, right? No, sorry. Okay. If scope data equals false, yeah, we actually don't do anything there. We'll just leave it like this. Or no, sorry. If scope data equals to false, we just specify here this load pull data from cache, and set scope data scope type. Otherwise we set it to false again. So in this case, if the data is available, it's just gonna work. Let's run it. Which version of PHP I have here? I don't remember in which version of PHP this one became available. I think in PHP 7 in general, yeah. Okay, the test passed, so these modifications went through and went through very well. So everything is working. Now we can finally go back here. So here we have load all data from cache, and if it's not there, then we have to provide the data from other places. Actually, what I can even do, now I have to do it. I have to do a duplication. So here you remember we were adding another function here in case if it requires us to load some stale data. So in this case, we will have to load our stale data from cache and decode. So here, for instance, this load from cache, and here we're gonna have stale cache prefix underscore right. So remember, this one actually happening not on every missing cache entry, but only during the time when the cache is actually locked. So if the cache is locked, we don't serve stale data, right? So here we just return back this stale data. Okay, this looks reasonable, right? And what else I think as well? Okay, makes sense. Load from cache and decode. Okay. What else? What else we have here? Am I missing something? I think not. Okay, so let's just extract this method. No, not in line. I want to instruct a method, but it doesn't give me. So I have to do it through the menu, extract a method. Oh, I see why it doesn't give me extract a method. Okay. Load all stale data from cache, and then here we will specify this prefix. So this config type, okay. And then we're gonna use this stale cache data, this load all stale data from cache. This one I can actually inline. Actually, I can even do something like this. Load all stale data from cache. Okay, looks reasonable. Then load default scope. Here we also will add a function use, but we will use scope type. And here it will be a little bit more complicated, because here we will this load all stale data from cache. Stale data. And what we will do here, we will do this construction stale data scope type. If it's not defined, and actually stale data actually here it's gonna be if stale data, then we return like this, otherwise we just return false, I think. Okay, reasonable. Now let's go to the load scope data. Here it's also very simple. Scope type and actually a scope ID. Okay. But you know what? I didn't actually write a test for this one. Not for this one and not for that one. So we actually have to do something about it, right? We have to write a test. However, I don't know what is the locked variation of this one. So let's write a test first. Test clearing default cache and locking it returns value, returns stale cached value. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it for the default test get value for default scope, right? And then we're gonna grab this default value again, and we're gonna specify that we expect the value from the default here. And here what we're gonna remove system default, so it's not anymore in cache. However, we also need to access our locker, right? So for this one it's gonna be a little bit more complicated. So let's see, lock. Probably it's gonna be a dummy one, right? So if we take a look here, DI preferences, lock. so okay, it's a little bit pity. It's very pity. I cannot actually test it through integration test. So Magento actually replaces that one. What if we just replace it with our implementations that I did the last time with in-memory lock. So it's actually gonna be a real behavior of the lock, not just some kind of custom implementation. So now we can actually access it. And also what is interesting for me is what is specified is in cache, lock guarded cache. Okay, so here it is. So this one is specified as a locker, so we can actually use that one directly in our test, right? So we can test clearing default cache and locking it returns stale cached value. This access lock, right? And let's implement this method. Alt add method lock manager interface. Get lock manager interface class. Okay, actually not this one. Cache return this lock manager get cache class. Not that one. Okay, not that one. I wanted this one. So let's see, where is it? It points me to the class. I wanted just to go to the top use statements. No, not the config. I'm testing framework, not the actual module. Okay, so here it looks correct. Yeah, so now it's accesses a lock. Okay, so what I can do here, I can actually lock something from system. What is the lock type actually? It's private static variable. It's not even okay. Let's hope we can just hard code it here. Self. Actually, I just hardcode it like this. So we are actually locking the system config. So now our code is definitely must be invoked. And to make sure that it's invoked, we just gonna you know, like return here false. We're just gonna make sure that oh, wait a second, which one I was testing for? I was testing for default, so let's do it in default first. I'll just remove it for now. And let's run our test. Oh yeah, because it should be an instance of lock manager interface. And actually what I also forgot to do, I forgot to extract this as a value. Also have to unlock this system config lock just to make sure, you know, that our test doesn't leave any kind of side effects. Let's run it. So I expect this one will just fail with the constraint here. The thing is failing because of line 199, right? Okay, yeah, it's clear. I know why it's failing. Because the false is returned here. However, it also means that our method doesn't work well. So it actually needs to, we need to add a little bit more logic over there. So here it's actually back in this one. Non-blocking loader allows to specify stale content loader. Okay, this one different. Stale content actually uses uncached data when stale cache loader returns false. So quite clear, I think. So if, for instance, our stale content loader returns false, then we should receive what? We should receive uncached. So here we can just run this one. Oh yeah, we have to run it for the whole class. False does not match expected type array. Yeah, correct. Because I didn't implement it. So let's do it. Oh yeah, and also a PHP doc is missing for that one. So we will put it here if is locked, or actually if is locked, then cache data is equal to, well, actually I think it's is locked, cache data equals stale data loader if stale data loader returns nothing, then we'll use the data collector. Actually, what we will do, we will just return something like this. It's even cleaner. And then we can just have something like data to cache. It will be more clear. Look good. Let's see. Why? Why it's failing? Why it's failing? I don't understand. Let me try to run it on command line because it doesn't makes copy a relative path. Vendor bin PHP unit -c dev tests unit PHP unit XML dist, and then we're gonna specify a test case. Yeah, here it works. Here it works. Why it's not working on command line? Oh, sorry, why it's not working here? Okay, never mind. Let's go back to our system test. And probably the result is gonna be undefined index default here. Still not something that actually, yeah, it's unclear why. Read value, okay. Non-blocking loader allows to specify stale content loader, yes. Non-blocking loader uses uncached data when stale cache loader returns false. So here I logged the system config, then I tried to get the value, right? Then I unlock it, but okay, let's take a look at the get value. So get with parts, and then load default scope data, okay. Load, okay, here it returns false, right? Okay, load all stale data from cache. Yeah, but it's quite strange. 199, yeah. 199. Get data by parts, okay, data. Path parts, okay. So it tries to access the default scope data, right? Then it goes through, then loads the scope data. Oh yeah, I know why. It's actually a bug in Magento. Because when there is no stale data, when there is no data, it just does not grab something from read. Yeah. Let's see if it actually fixes our issue. Wow. Oh, definitely yes. Definitely yes. I see. Here is my bug. Okay, here it is. So load from cache account. Okay. The scope type, where is it? Where is this? Load scope data. Yeah. Okay. Load cache for scope type. I'm looking for this one, for one that does. Oh, here it is actually. Yeah, so it should be a scope type like this. So it means actually that this one is getting invoked, right? Am I correct or not? Seems like it. Is it gonna work? Why is this happening? Why it's not doing it correctly? I already fixed it there. Actually here it's also not correct. It should be scope type, then scope ID, and then this thing. Scope ID, oh yeah, it should be like array inception. Yeah, array within array within array. And here probably as well, where it is. Here. No, here it's okay. Let's see. Load all data. No. our default scope data, right? So this one gets invoked. True. This is a problem as well. So I have to wrap it like this as well. But my bad. Why it still says me undefined index default? Why? Why still tell me this? It shouldn't be the case anymore because we actually added it here. So we edited the scope type. Oh boy, yeah, I see. This should be the case. Okay, it's time to call it the end of the stream. I'm gonna work on it later. So this is the things that I've changed. What? How did I change that one? Magento config app config type system. Actually, I want to check out on a fresh branch. fix cache lock write, improve generation. Now improve am I on the right branch? So it's improve generation. Okay, git add dev tests, git add lib internal, git add this one as well. So I'm adding a cache, a stale cache loader. I'm also improve remove duplicate code from system from configuration class. And yeah, that's actually all for now. Git push -u origin fix cache lock right improve generation git yeah. Okay, so this is, I'm gonna call an end of the stream. Thank you very much for looking at it. Bye bye.